There's another story coming right up, and you can always learn more about Theodore Tugboat on the internet. Find us through PBS Online.
Pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor, in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with the sun, gotta get the job done. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Voda, Hank and George, and the harbor master too.
Oh my goodness. Hello. Oh, I must have fallen asleep. Excuse me, whoever this could be. Hello. Hi, Mom. No, I was just about to put your parcel in the mail to you. It's all ready to go. Yeah. I love you too. Bye-bye. Oh, I've got to get this parcel in the mail to my mom. Like I said, it's all ready to go. I just have to tape. Oh, I'm over the tape. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Oh, now there goes the mail truck, and without my mom's parcel. And I told her that it was all ready to go. Oh, my. Oh, what am I going to do now? Well, I shouldn't have told her that it was all ready to go. You know, Theodore thinks it's very important to tell the truth. He didn't always.
Early one fine summer evening, Theodore was drifting lazily along, letting the tide float him here and there. That was Hank's whistle. "Guess what I did?" Hank called proudly. "I beat Sigrid in a race." "Well," said Theodore right away, "I beat Bluenose in a race." "Wow," said Hank. "I thought Bluenose was the fastest ship in the harbor." Well, Theodore hadn't really raced Bluenose, but somehow telling Hank made him feel, well, bigger. "Let's go out near the big smokestacks," hollered Hank. "Let's race," tooted Theodore. Now, Hank is a very fast tugboat, and in no time at all, he was well ahead of Theodore. So Theodore decided to try a shortcut. He knew he wasn't supposed to cross in the middle of the harbor. There's always a lot going on out there. He was supposed to stay near the shore like Hank. But he really wanted to win the race. Theodore almost cut off Philip, one of the ferry twins. Or was that Fillmore? It's always kind of hard to tell the ferry twins apart. Theodore raced on through the middle of the harbor and beat Hank to the smokestacks. "I won! I won!" shouted Theodore. Just then, Voda came hurrying up, looking very serious. "I was on my official patrol," the safety tug explained. "And Philip informed me that a boat cut him off while he was crossing the harbor." "Or it might have been Fillmore," added Voda. "It wasn't me," said Hank. "It wasn't me," said Theodore quickly. He really didn't want Hank to know he took a shortcut to win the race. "Well, if you see that boat," Voda frowned, "tell him to stay out of the middle of the harbor. It's dangerous." "Oh, we will," said Hank. Theodore smiled a small smile. Sometimes, it seemed, changing the truth just a little was a lot easier than telling it. The following morning, the dispatcher was just finishing giving out the jobs for the day to the tugboats. "Theodore, please stay behind," he called. Well, for a moment, Theodore was afraid the dispatcher was going to ask him about cutting off Philip. Or was it Fillmore? "Theodore, I have a special job for you to do. As you know, it's Vodak's job to make sure the harbor is safe and sound." "I know," said Theodore. "But last night," continued the dispatcher, "Vodak had to stay out very late looking for a boat who almost bumped into Philip. Or it might have been Fillmore." Theodore didn't say a word, but he kind of felt glad that everyone thought it was another boat and not him. "Vodak needs help with his safety patrol," the dispatcher went on. "I'm assigning you to dock duty. You will check all the docks after work to make sure they're shipshape." Well, that was just great. It was a very important job. "Yes, sir," smiled Theodore. "You can count on me." I know I can, Theodore, said the dispatcher. Early that evening, Theodore began his first official dock patrol. He made sure to check each dock very carefully. All bumpers in place, he said out loud. No rotten wood. Excellent. Ship tied safely. Very good. He said to himself. Someone left a big mess on that dock. There were even some oil drums lying around. Theodore knew that could be dangerous. And he also knew that he should clean up the mess. Just then he heard a familiar whistle. You want to race, Theodore? Sure enough, it was Hank. Theodore did love to race Hank, but he hadn't finished his work yet. Are you coming, Theodore? Honked Hank. Oh, I can clean that dock later, Theodore decided. And off he went. It was dark by the time Theodore and Hank returned home. Theodore, said the dispatcher. Yes, sir, said Theodore. He didn't know why, but lately, every time the dispatcher called his name, he had a strange sinking feeling inside, like he had swallowed an anchor or something. That really wasn't such a great feeling. Did you finish checking all the docks? Asked the dispatcher. Yes, sir, replied Theodore. Keep up the good work, said the dispatcher. Oh, thank you, smiled Theodore, and turned for his dock again. But Theodore's smile quickly disappeared like the setting sun. You see, he suddenly remembered the dock. The dock he told the dispatcher he had checked, but he hadn't. Theodore had never told the dispatcher a lie before. Tomorrow, I'll check that dock first thing, he said to himself. Later that same night, the big harbor was sound asleep. Suddenly, the quiet was wrenched by a sound that every ship and boat feared. Foduk's fire siren. Fire! Shouted the dispatcher. Tugboats, please go quickly and help Foduk. The tugs raced off as fast as their engines would take them, wide awake now, with one thought and one thought only. Fire. The tugs followed Foduk's siren to an out-of-the-way part of the harbor. Constance, the Coast Guard, was already steaming towards the fire. As he got closer and closer, Theodore began to have that horrible sinking feeling again. The fire siren seemed to be coming from the dock. The dock he told the dispatcher that he'd checked. It was just what Theodore was afraid of. The pile of junk had caught fire. Tugboats, ordered Constance. Stand by to move the ships in case the fire spreads. It was all up to the safety tug now. He aimed his special fire hose. The whole harbor seemed to hold its breath. Foduk sprayed a great stream of firefighting water at the flames. Thanks to Foduk's fast action, soon the fire was out. Hooray! Whistled the tugs. Even Constance blew her great whistle. But not Theodore. You see, Theodore wasn't feeling all that happy. He knew that if he had cleaned that dock in the first place, the fire might never have started. How did this happen, Foduck? The dispatcher was asking as soon as the tugs arrived back at the Great Ocean dock. I don't know, answered Foduck, sounding very puzzled. I had a perfect safety record, up till now. Theodore knew the fire wasn't Foduck's fault. It was his fault. But if he said so, what would happen? We will discuss this in the morning, the dispatcher said to Foduck. Right now, I think you should all get some sleep. The tugboats began to turn for their docks. It's my fault. What did you say, Theodore? Asked the dispatcher. It's my fault, repeated Theodore, a little louder this time. I didn't check that dock. There was a lot of junk on it, but I didn't clean it up. I was going to, but I didn't. Theodore, said the dispatcher, you told me you did check all the docks. I know I did, said Theodore, but I didn't. It seemed they were the hardest words Theodore had ever had to say. Theodore, said Hank quietly, you told a lie. Yes, Hank, I did. Theodore was sure the dispatcher was going to be angry with him. But his next words were gentle ones. Theodore, the most important thing is that you did tell the truth. It just took a little while. Yes, sir, said Theodore. And I'm really sorry. Now, it really is time to go to sleep, said the dispatcher. Good night, tugboats. One by one, the tugs all went to their docks to go to sleep, but Theodore just couldn't close his eyes. Mr. Dispatcher, he called quietly. Oh, yes? Yawned the dispatcher, who was almost asleep. What is it, Theodore? I was thinking, said Theodore slowly, that tomorrow I would like to help clean up the dock that had the fire. I think that's a very good idea, said the dispatcher, with a smile in his voice. Theodore turned once again towards the dock. Theodore, called the dispatcher. For the first time in a while, Theodore didn't have that sinking feeling when the dispatcher called his name. Sweet dreams, Theodore, said the dispatcher softly. Yes, that sinking feeling was gone, and in its place was another feeling. A very sleepy feeling.
You know, Theodore always tells the truth now, and that's just what I'm going to do. Hi, Mom. Remember when I told you that I had your parcel all ready to go? Yeah. Well, I kind of fell asleep, and then I couldn't find any tape, and it's a long story, Mom. Maybe I better tell you when I see you. Yeah, I'll be right over with it. Oh, okay. Bye-bye. Thanks for visiting us here in the Big Harbor, and we'll see y'all again next time. Oops.
Theodore, he's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Foduck, Hank and George and the harbor master